By a show of hands, how many of you know what a school psychologist is? Not many. Well, I've been a licensed and nationally certified school psychologist for over 10 years, and I teach in the school psychology program as a professor here at UNLV. And over my time, I've experienced about the same, which is that most people don't know what a school psychologist is, and that's okay. So I'm here to share that with you. A school psychologist is your mental health professional in your K-12 school setting who's uniquely trained to advocate for and identify over 90% of the students with disabilities. So disabilities such as specific learning disabilities, autism, ADHD, and the like. So we're really important people with very important jobs to do, and I like to think I'm very good at what I do. We are by nature and by training problem solvers. But I'm not here to talk about school psychology per se today, although of course it is foundational to my worldview. Rather, I'm here to talk about yoga. Because it's through practicing yoga, I had the humbling realization that there is one area of problem solving that I may never master, and that's problem solving myself. My yoga journey began with Bikram yoga. So Bikram in a nutshell. It's a 90-minute class in a room that's 105 degrees set to 45% humidity. It's a set sequence of 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises, so it never changes. And you move to the teacher's scripted instructions. It's just me, my mat, and the wall of mirrors. There's no talking, there's no music, there's no clock, there's no water for the first 15 minutes, and oh, there's absolutely no leaving the room. Where do you sign up, right? Well, for the scientists in the room, this experimental design is actually pretty intriguing. Because of these control conditions, you know that the one variable worth measuring, that the one variable that's changing, is me. And it's hard to explain this yoga experience in words, so just trust me when I say the struggle is real. You're forced to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable, how to just stare at and accept yourself during very challenging and ugly times. But you also learn that you're a lot stronger than you think you are. And even when I get away from my mat for a period of time, because we all know life happens, I always keep finding my way back because there's so many benefits. Physical, psychological, emotional, mental, social, and of course, spiritual. I agree 1,000% with these benefits because I've lived and breathed them personally. I do admit it was my ego, though, that kept me coming back to my mat when I started my practice. I wanted to nail every pose, especially this one. I wanted to lose the baby weight because I thought being thin was the secret to happiness. And I wanted to become a Zen master of my breath. I wanted to be successful at yoga. I know it sounds really anti-yoga, right? Well, that's who I was when I started my yoga journey. I was living the fast life in New York City in my mid-20s, and I was a graduate student at Columbia University. My mom had also died 2 years prior after battling cancer. I was pretending I was in a marriage that was salvageable, and I was practically raising my toddler on my own. I was really struggling with being a first-time mother without my mother. I saw my therapist more than I saw my husband, and I was ping-ponging emotionally between feeling scared, ashamed, heartbroken, exhausted, confused, and frankly, I was just really angry. I was living and breathing this uncomfortable, messy, hot yoga class 24/7. So yoga saved my life. I signed right up for a 200-hour yoga teacher training to fully immerse myself in everything yoga, not just Bikram. I learned about other styles like Ashtanga, Vinyasa, and Yin. I learned about the power of the breath, yoga anatomy, yoga philosophy, and I started practicing regularly every day. What they didn't advertise was this teacher training was really less about becoming a teacher and more about a journey into the self. I delved into deep, dark vaults of unprocessed grief and betrayal, insecurities rooted from my childhood, and a lot of suppressed pain. Research from trauma experts now shows that it's the body that keeps the score. So chronic pain and tightness in our body is really those emotions, those experiences, those traumas that are trapped in our muscle, our tissue, our nervous systems. So actually, through opening our bodies first, can we actually start to open our minds to be a state where we can actually open our hearts again soon. And once you can start to feel those big emotions, then you can start to face them and hopefully, ultimately, work through them. How healing. I love yoga so much, I chose to practice hot yoga through 3 pregnancies, and I learned 2 very important lessons. 1, the female body is fantastically fierce, and 2, the power of love. I was no longer just moving and breathing in ways that benefited me. I had to protect a growing fetus. I chose to consciously push aside my own ego so I could prioritize another human being. And I share these photos with you, not to brag, but more to illustrate to you so you can see how yoga can look so different, even in one individual, that's ever evolving and ever changing. So yoga is for any body, anytime, anywhere, and for any purpose. It doesn't matter the style of the yoga you choose, or the length of the class, or the temperature of the room. Yoga is about moving energy in our body so we can start to remove those blocks, placed there consciously or unconsciously, and then we can get reconnected with ourselves, getting centered and grounded. I invite you to consider life as a series of yoga poses, that life is, in and of itself, a practice. And as you move through life, as we do in yoga, you must always maintain 2 qualities, steadiness and ease. So I can generate internal heat in my body through the poses, activating and awakening energy systems in my body, while still maintaining a focus of mind, calmness of breath, even still having a conversation, and synchronizing my body and breath and mind. Yoga is about practicing how to be present, how to accept things as they are, and how to trust in the process. Yoga is a moving meditation. Now, that was just a demonstration, okay? To quote famous Indian yogi, Sadhguru, yoga is not about self-expression, but rather, yoga is about determining the nature of who you wish to be. So I ask you, what is the nature of who you wish to be? In a time when behaviors are becoming more extreme and views are becoming more polarized, I think it's more important now than ever that more people get centered and grounded and disciplined. Racism, sexism, classism, these are all social constructs that are created in and perpetuated by attachment to ego, rigidity of thinking, and fear of change. But change is inevitable. Change is the vehicle of evolution. So we must learn to transform ourselves so we can embrace change in this yoga studio of life. Imagine a world where more people truly believed we're all one. We're all connected, that we're more alike than we are different. The science now backs this. Anything you focus on will increase and grow. Anything you practice and repeat will become a habit and more automatic, right? You don't need a psychologist to tell you that. So you could choose to practice what's comfortable and familiar, right? Impulsivity and reactivity, hate and aggression. Or you could instead choose to practice listening, curiosity, grace and compassion, self-reflection, and humility. Imagine a world where more people were practicing yoga and mindfulness. Imagine a world where more people were choosing to problem solve themselves first rather than everybody else. Yoga teaches us how to disconnect from our devices so we can reconnect with ourselves. Yoga teaches us to be in tune with our body and its physical sensations so we can make conscious, healthy choices in the moment about food and physical activity, even sleep. Most importantly, yoga teaches us how to breathe so we can stop suffocating ourselves and we can deal with stress and discomfort in the moment rather than compulsively reaching outside of ourselves for something like a substance or even media to escape life. Life, which is a gift. Your existence is a gift. In the grand cosmos of the universe, human life as we know is such a small blip of time. So I ask you, why not start with learning how to problem solve ourselves so we can begin to learn how to manifest more magic in our lives? Now, the yoga poses are simple, but the practice is hard, right? It's not easy. I know I'm a work in progress. I still doubt if I've done enough at home and at work. I struggle with loving myself unconditionally. And yeah, it is hard to stay zen while my toddler is tantruming in Target. But because I've practiced yoga, I know I can do hard things. And I know these challenges come and they go. I've shown myself I can stay in the room. I can stay on my mat. I'm getting pretty good at staying in the poses now, too. But like any good therapist will tell you, you don't have to take my word for it. They're just recommendations. Ultimately, it's your body, your choices, your life. I say it just takes a willingness and an openness to try. I want to leave you with some nuggets of wisdom I picked up along my yoga journey, and maybe some will resonate with you. Let's all start with staring honestly at ourselves in the mirror. Let's all start with problem solving ourselves first. Love yourself enough to struggle, stay in the room, and keep practicing. Namaste.